I don't know exactly when things started to go wrong. Maybe it was the moment I first couldn't get out of bed without pain, or the minute her "I'm going to the gym" started sounding too frequent and too routine. But I knew one thing for sure. My place next to her had already been taken by someone else. And the most painful part of it all is that I helped him get there myself. My name is Nick. I'm 34. I'm a former track and field athlete, now a fitness instructor, and until recently, a confident man in great shape, with a wife that everyone envied. Ashley, bright, striking, with eyes you could drown in. When I first started rising in sports, she was there. We went through a lot, and I believed that if anyone would stay with me until the end, it would be her. And then, the accident. A gathering, a drunk driver, the wrong lane. I was thrown onto the asphalt with such force that it wasn't just my ribs and pelvis that broke. The entire rhythm of my life shattered. Rehabilitation, 6 months in a private clinic, shots, massages, machines, pain you swallow to keep from howling. And her, she called, first every day, then every other day, then once a week. "Sorry, I have a lot of work, but I'm thinking of you." One day she said, "Honey, I signed up for a gym, the one across from our place, just to get out of the house." I was happy. I knew that physical activity would help her cope with the anxiety. "Great. Who's the trainer?" Pause. "Vince." "Well, you know him. We used to work together. He's back in town." Vince. I knew this guy. Charismatic with a Hollywood smile. The type who stretches girls and lingers his hand a little longer than necessary. We'd cross paths, and I always kept him at a distance, but now I was in the clinic, and he was next to my wife. Every day. I tried not to think about it. I caught myself being jealous and suppressed it. Ashley isn't like that. She's loyal. She's with me not for the body, but for the soul. We're the real deal, but the brain is a treacherous thing. It sees details even when you ignore them. Social media, a photo from a workout, tight leggings, low-cut tops, a smile, not for me. Captions, it's good to have someone guide you correctly. Flexibility is the key to results. Comments, and from him, you were on fire today. You were bending over just right. Her reply, I tried to ignore it, but my heart knew. In the clinic, one of the patients, a former rescuer, a tough guy with a good heart, once asked, "Listen, is your wife really going to the gym to work out? Or is she doing some two-person warm-up there?" I tensed up. "Why do you ask?" "I just know those types of trainers. They like to handle more than just iron." I laughed nervously. "She has me." He shrugged. "While you're here, she only has sports. And sports with Vince could turn into a very intimate discipline." I couldn't sleep. Then, I couldn't eat. With every video call with Ashley, I felt something slipping away. Before, she looked straight into the camera. Now, she looks away. Before, she said, "I miss you." Now, gotta go. I need to shower. I'm tired after my workout. I came back 2 days early. Without warning, I wanted to surprise her. The neighbor who met me at the entrance said, "Wow, you got a tan, even though you were in the hospital. And your wife is a real sports goddess now. They say the trainer dotes on her." He winked, and everything inside me broke. I went upstairs. The key still worked, but the door opened into someone else's life. Ashley was in the kitchen, in workout clothes, her hair in a bun, cheeks flushed. You're back?" "Yeah, I wanted to surprise you." "You should have said something." Her voice trembled, as if she wasn't ready to see me, or as if she was expecting someone else. On the floor, a stretching mat. On the table, a water bottle and 2 glasses. "Who was here?" "A friend. From work. She stopped by for a minute." I nodded. And then in the bathroom I found a towel. A man's, with someone else's cologne. I didn't say anything. Didn't ask. Didn't accuse. I just looked at her and didn't recognize her. While I was breaking bones, she seemed to be breaking vows. But the scariest thing was, I was sure it couldn't get any worse. But it was only just beginning. In bed we were together, but in her mind, she was already moaning with someone else. I didn't make a scene. although everything inside was shaking like a live wire. I just said, I want to be alone. For a bit. She nodded, too calmly. That calmness hit harder than a slap. As if she knew I'd leave anyway, and she wouldn't try to persuade me. That night I hardly slept. I sat in silence, listening to her breathing. It was even, deep. She slept soundly, and I lay next to her. Not like a husband, but like a temporary guest in someone else's bed. In the morning she woke up early. She was making coffee in the kitchen, wearing a new workout outfit. The top barely covered her chest. The leggings were so tight that I clenched my teeth in irritation. Going to the gym again? I asked. Of course. Cardio and abs. Doesn't the trainer have enough time for everyone? She froze for a second. What do you mean? Just asking. She left, and I was left alone. And for the first time in all this time, I allowed myself to do something I always considered beneath me. I took her tablet. Unlocking it was easy. We're a couple, right? Instagram was open to a chat. Vince, I'm bringing sushi tomorrow. How does that sound after stretching? If it's like last time, bring whatever you want. You held that bridge amazingly. I could have held on. My fingers clenched. I scrolled up. Photos. Videos. Her on the mat. He's holding her waist. Then, a photo from the shower. Only the mirror. Only her shoulders. Only steam. On the floor under the couch, I found his fitness tracker. He was in our house. He was in my apartment. With my wife. While I couldn't get out of bed. When she came back, I was sitting in the kitchen. On the table, her tablet. Next to it, the bracelet. She stopped in the doorway, silently. Her lips trembled. Do you have anything to say? I asked. It's not what you think. Really? Then explain what exactly I'm thinking wrong? She sat down on a chair, didn't make excuses, didn't cry, just stared at the wall. At first, it was just sports. And then I realized that I feel like a woman again. And before that, what were you? A nurse, a psychologist, the cook, and all, for free. She stood up, walked over to me, put her hand on my chest. Nick, you've changed. You started looking not at me, but through me, as if I'm just an element in your schedule. Rehabilitation, course, coming home. I took her hand away. And you decided to replace love with physiotherapy? She lowered her eyes. I didn't want to, but he was there, and I couldn't handle it. I left the house. I just silently took the keys, my phone, and left. I didn't know where to go, just away from her. That evening, I went to the gym, the one. I walked in without signing up. At the front desk, the girl recognized me. Oh, you're Ashley's husband. I clenched my lips. Was. She hesitated, then whispered, I'm sorry, I don't know anything, but everyone sees it. I walked into the gym. Vince was there. He was training a girl, smiling, adjusting her back during stretching. Just like with Ashley, when he noticed me, he froze. I walked right up to him. Hey, Vince. Nick, aren't you home yet? Long ago, and you, I see, are right at home. Listen, I didn't know it would all be like this. What? That I'd find out? He looked away, then whispered, I didn't think you'd be back so soon. And that gives you the right to screw my wife? He wanted to say something, but I didn't let him. I just turned around and left. It was damp outside. A light rain was hitting my face, but it was even pleasant. It was knocking down the anger. I got in the car, closed my eyes. Everything I built, everything I saved. It seemed to have collapsed, but suddenly my phone vibrated. A message, number not saved, a photograph. Ashley, sitting in an office. Next to her, a woman in a medical coat. Caption, you need to know, she's pregnant, but the child isn't yours. I stared at the screen. My fingers were shaking. My lips went numb. A child, not mine. She didn't just betray me. She erased everything that was between us. And that's when I realized, I don't want revenge. I want to leave. Forever. But fate decided otherwise. Because the next day, I received a letter from her mother. I left, But the past came for me, with the voice of her mother. I didn't know where I was driving. I was just driving. The asphalt was wet. The wipers were squeaking against the glass, as if everything around was whispering, "You lost. She's gone. Everything is destroyed." I stopped at the waterfront. I sat in the car listening to the breathing of my own betrayal. Because, yes, I was betrayed, but the scariest thing, I felt guilty. Ashley is pregnant, not by me, and she continues to live in our apartment, under the same roof where we kissed, laughed, made love. And Vince, now apparently will be the father of my almost child. The phone was vibrating. I didn't want to look, but the screen was flashing. Name, Linda. Ashley's mother. We hardly talked. She was a cold woman, harsh, but fair. I opened the message. "Nick, I know what happened. Please meet me tomorrow. It's important, not for her, for you." I didn't know what her mother could tell me, but apparently it was time to hear not only what was pleasant. We met in an old cafe that smelled of mulled wine and fresh pastries. She was sitting by the window stern, in a coat with a straight back and a tired look. I sat opposite her, silent. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I know you don't have to, but you need to know something." I was silent. I'm not justifying Ashley. She made a terrible choice, and perhaps it will destroy her completely. But it didn't start now. Everything is much deeper. I raised my eyes. "Do you think she cheated because you were in the hospital?" "No. She cheated because she didn't trust herself. Because I once didn't trust myself and taught her to live the same way." She took a sip of tea and continued. "I was also the wife of a successful man, handsome, strong, a man that everyone looked at, and I felt like an application next to him. Until one day, I met someone who just looked at me, saw me, appreciated me." "Did you cheat on him?" "Yes, and Ashley saw everything then. She was 15. She overheard our conversation with my lover, saw the tears, the silence. And from then on, she decided that love always leaves, that it's better to leave first than to be left last." I was silent. A lump was growing in my chest. She continued, "When you were hospitalized, she was scared, really scared. I saw her at night, pale, drained. She tried to hold on, but then her instinct won." "What instinct?" "The instinct to survive, through a man, through support, through attention." "Are you justifying her?" "No, I'm explaining. So you don't burn yourself out over someone else's weakness." A pause hung between us. Light music played in the cafe. Someone laughed at the next table. And for us, everything seemed to stand still, in silence. "And what should I do now?" I asked. "What her father didn't do. And that is, move on, not through revenge, but through choice. You can go back, make a scene, publicly tear off her mask, but you don't want to live in the mud, do you?" I didn't answer, but she understood. We said goodbye, and at the exit she stopped me. "And one more thing. Yes, your father also left when he found out that Mom was with someone else. Only the difference is that he just left, without talking, without the truth. And now, you're repeating his path. But you can stop." In the evening I went to my place, but not to the apartment with Ashley, but to an old rented studio, an empty room, one mug, one mattress, but silence, real, not treacherous. I stared at the ceiling, and for the first time I didn't feel hatred, because revenge is also an addiction, and I wanted freedom. The next day I went to the gym, not the one where Vince worked, another one, small, clean, without mirrors, without pretense. I stood in front of the machine. My legs were shaking, but I stood, myself, and a girl approached me, an instructor, calm, simple. In her eyes, no lust, no evaluation, just interest. "Do you need help?" I nodded. "Just don't touch me. I want to remember what it's like, to do it myself." Ashley didn't write to me anymore, didn't call, and I didn't wait. I just breathed, and for the first time in a long time, This air didn't smell of pain, but the climax was still waiting, because one day, I saw them together, and I did what I wouldn't have done yesterday. I didn't take revenge. I freed myself. 3 weeks passed. I didn't call, didn't write, deleted all the photos, turned off the memories, as much as possible. Every morning, a workout. Every evening, silence. I started living as if I had been in a coma before, but life knows how to bring back unfinished chapters. One day I was walking through the mall, just for groceries, and suddenly, I saw them. Ashley, next to her, Vince. She was holding his arm. She was wearing a loose dress, under which the belly was already visible. I froze. They didn't notice me. He was whispering something to her. She was laughing. The smile on her face was so familiar, the same one with which she once greeted me. And I realized, I can go up now, make a scene, say something poisonous to ruin their day. But instead, I moved away, stood behind a column, and just watched, because I no longer wanted to fight for what had destroyed me. In the evening, Vince wrote to me. Yes, him. Nick, hi. Ashley and I were waiting for you to show up. I want to meet, not as enemies, just as men. I have something to say, please. One conversation, and I won't bother you anymore. I reread the message 5 times and still answered. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., park. No extra words. If you start making excuses, I'll get up and leave. He came on time, without showiness, without a watch worth half a salary. He sat opposite me on the bench, silent. I was looking straight ahead. He, to the side. I understand you don't have to listen to me, he said. True, but I'll say it, because both you and I need to put an end to this. He exhaled and began to speak. I didn't plan any of this, I swear. At first, I was just helping. Then, I felt that she was looking at me differently. I tried to keep my distance, but I couldn't. I was silent. But the main thing is not that. Recently, she confessed, an important thing. I raised an eyebrow. The child is not mine. Pause. My heart hit my chest like a hammer. What? He nodded. I was sure it was my daughter, but she said that they conceived before the accident, the day before, and she lied to me when she thought you weren't coming back. I slowly straightened up. There was a hum in my head. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to get out of this honestly, and because she wants you to know. I left without words, silently, but inside everything was screaming. At home I stared at the ceiling. Father, a word that used to pinch but now burned. I have a child, there inside her, a part of me, and now I must decide to be there or to leave, and repeat the path of her mother and my own. The next day I wrote, Ashley, tomorrow, coffee shop by the lake. Only you, without Vince. Not for us, but for him. She came, for the first time in all this time, without makeup, with tired eyes, but in them, there was no fear, only fatigue. Thank you for coming, she said. Not for you, she nodded. I lied, because I was afraid. You were far away, weak, and he was nearby, strong. But I lied not to you, to myself. Pause. It's your child, Nick. If you don't want to, I won't impose myself. And you. I realize that I don't know how to be good, but I want to be normal. And if you decide to be in the life of this baby, I won't interfere. I looked at her and felt, not love, not hate, but absolution. You are no longer who you used to be. I know. And I am also not the one who loved you. That's good, because maybe now we are both finally real. I left first. It was lightly snowing outside, the kind that swirls beautifully but melts in your palm. And I realized life is not about winning, not about revenge, and not about vengeance. It's about choice. Who to be when you're hurt, what to do when everything collapses, and who to let go, even if you once swore to hold their hand forever. I didn't become her husband again, But I became a father once a week. We are not friends, not enemies, just adults with a shared past and one new life. And if you are now experiencing betrayal, infidelity, pain, know this is not the end. This is a transition. The main thing is not to stay in the ashes, but to get out and breathe.